Oh, there we go. I can hear it now. Dude, this capture card is so quiet. It's very quiet. Which, I mean, isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's a little odd. Where's my sensor bar? I know my Wii sensor bar fell. There it is. Alright. Well, that was kind of loud. At least it was loud for me. Yeah, I think for future Pokemon Showdown streams, we'll do alt account shenanigans, maybe. If I don't feel like laddering. Oh, I still have Fortune Street in. Fuck. Oh, I gotta get up. My Wii games are literally on the other side of the room, too. Oh. That's fine. Guys, it's okay. God, I still have the fucking Club Nintendo code in that Mario Kart Wii disc case. You guys remember Club Nintendo? I didn't really get much from it. The only physical item I have from Club Nintendo is the giant AR card, because I really wanted a giant AR card. I think I tried to get a poster set or something from it as well, but I put in my address wrong, because I was like 11.
Mario Kart Wii!
But I remember using it and thinking it was so cool. I remember going through a bunch of your games to get codes to try and get some stuff, but a lot were expired. I didn't even realize Club Nintendo codes could expire, because I think I literally just put them all in.
Mario Kart Wii!
Wait, what am I doing? I want to do Custom Track GP. What am I thinking? Silly me. Get that shit on Custom Track GP. Come on. Let's be adults here. I remember getting a lot of digital games from Club Nintendo. That was how I first played Mega Man 2. It was how I played Kid Icarus. I got Urban Champion from it, and, like, even with, like, that felt like the biggest ripoff in the world. You guys know what Urban Champion is? It's literally, like, the most basic-ass fighting game in the world. It is so nothing. Urban Champion is a fake video game. Pretty much. Alright. It'll be fun to go back to Custom Track GP after playing a bunch of 8 Deluxe with the waves of DLC and such. You know, I see the benefits of running the meta now, but I'm still not... I will not engage with the Funky Kong meta. I don't know, I don't like how bikes feel. Maybe if I use them, I would, like, be more comfortable with them, but I'm just not. Dude, we got, like, the Temis. Club Nintendo was good, though. Club Nintendo was good, and, like, even now... Well, okay, Club Nintendo wasn't that good. But it was alright. I mean, the fact that you get free shit for buying video games is kind of cool. And, like, for me, because I was, like, a little kid, I thought it was the coolest thing that I could buy video games to get more video games. And I didn't again, I got Urban Champion, so I clearly did not have a good sense of value. Obstagoon's Palace. I always forget that Obstagoon is, like, a real Pokemon, because you know what I think in my mind when I hear that name? I think of Dragoon from Pokemon Snakewood. Like, that's what comes to my brain first. Let's see what Obstagoon's Palace is about. Can't believe they just copied Snakewood, literally. That's fucking awesome that they have a big 3D model of Obstagoon in this place. They were not lying, that palace do be Obstagoons. Ow. I'm not very good at this map. To be fair, I've never played it before. But I feel like even then I'm playing exceptionally bad. I've been playing too much 8 Deluxe. I'm used to, like, the 8 Deluxe, like, feel. God damn, this is a 3-lap track, too? Holy shit. I haven't even finished the first lap, and it's been over a minute and a half. Or close to a minute and a half. I mean, I'm playing like doo-doo, but still. Okay, we're back in it. All things considered, at least everybody else doesn't know what the fuck's going on, except that Dry Bowser. Dry Bowser is having a great time of it. I fell for the same trick as them. I just saw them doing it, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it too. What a dumbass I am. so-called free thinkers when they see someone fail a shortcut. I'm so sorry, Funky Kong. That was a little cruel. I might be able to get third. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze second. And right now, like, once Dry Bowser hits the finish line, we're on a 30-second timer. I'll take third. Funky Kong chilling in the back. I should take my meds. I think part of the reason I've been having trouble sleeping lately is that I keep taking my meds really late, and they're supposed to make me a little sleepy. My boring ass choosing Choco Island. I saw a post on Twitter that was like, when you hear that... Oh no, I think it was a YouTube comment, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm analyzing the situation, I think it was a YouTube comment I saw while I was looking up songs from this game for N64 Bowser's Castle, and someone commented, like, when you hear N64 Bowser's Castle play, you know the custom track's gonna be goated. And honestly, I could believe it. This track seems pretty good. N64 Bowser's Castle is just such a good theme in general. It really is. Ooh. I have a chance. I fucking fell. Fuck. What is wrong with me? You are a son of a bitch. You're a little devious. You're a little mischievous with it. Yeah, again, Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 8 feel like so different. Like, they're both like modern Mario Kart. If you know how to play one, you know how to play the other, but like the intricacies of it, man, the intricacies. You gotta believe me. I mean, just from the drifts alone, they feel so different. Wait, where the fuck did Rosalina come from? What the hell? I did not even hit an item block, and I fell into Lava Heart. At least Funky Kong is having a worse time than me. I can take solace in that. I've probably said it before, like, during one of these Mario Kart Wii streams, but N64 Bowser's Castle really was, like, the perfect, like, final course for this game. Because it really did feel like the epic, like, final lap of a journey, going through this dangerous-ass castle with this foreboding music playing. Again, Mario Kart Wii is not like an adventure game. It doesn't even really have a single-player campaign like DS did, but it felt like an adventure. Just based on the... honestly, just the way the courses are set up. Like, it really does, like... the cups are, like, perfectly paced, I think. Is what it boils down to. The cups have the perfect pacing to really make it feel like you're going on, like, an adventure in your car. And it's constantly, like, upping itself in complexity, and that is something that is absolutely lost in, like, Mario Kart 8, or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe specifically. Oh, this guy's got the crowns in the name. That's how you know he's serious. So welcome back, V. Welcome back. You're just in time for some Mario Kart Wii. Oh, this looks like this could be a scary course. Yeah, that guy's dead. But I'm being so fucking careful. I will not die. This is a very pretty custom map. I like this. It's got the big crystals and shit. Man, has anybody made, like, candy based on, like, those, like, the, like, crystal-looking things? There has to be. Like, candy rocks. I guess there is rock candy, but I don't think that's what rock candy is. Rock candy isn't just, like, candy that looks like a rock, is it? You have great news? Resplendent news? This I gotta hear. Rock candy is like translucent crystals? I gotta buy some fucking rock candy. Holy shit. You can get many colors. That's fucking dope. That's what I like to hear. Man, it's kind of weird that this is only a 2-lap course also, because this is not nearly as long as the past couple of maps. It's fine. There was no way for me to lose third unless I fucked up really bad. How's a blue shell hitting you in third place? If the first and second place people crossed over the finish line already, it goes down the line. It'll hit whoever's the first person that didn't cross the finish line already. Greg moment. This is a certified Greg moment. Man, I'm stuck with the two people who are actually good at the game. These two know what's up. There's a lot of cool candy. Yeah, I'd love to try some cool candy, too. I thought I, like, wrapped my Wii Remote and nunchuck around my head. I thought I accidentally made, like, a fucked up situation for myself. And that's why I died. I don't know how to describe this. I think I, like, put my Wii Remote and nunchuck over my head and didn't realize what I did. And then I got fucking scared because I was like, am I just gonna, like, choke myself if I, like, put this down wrong? Because it was tangled in with my, headphone wires, too. Just not a good scenario I was just in, and, like, it's hard to describe. Because it really is very cartoonish. Damn, they're that far ahead. They gotta give me, like, a bullet bill. Something happened and Twitch Mobile happens? Or it looks better? That's good, at least. This is a really nice custom track, also. This is literally better than the N64 Rainbow Road that's in 8 Deluxe. Man, those two are neck and neck, and I'm all the way back here like a schmuck. Talking about headphones? Oh, I was talking about how a bunch of my wires got tangled. This was not worth it. I should have just fallen off. But I was determined. What fucking luck for me. What? Again? Come on, man. I'm just falling off. Man, I'm this far behind. They keep giving me, like, the shittiest items possible. Like, listen, I know there's not a lot of people in the race, but a bullet bill would have been nice at some point. Like, I'll admit I needed the handicap. Very nice custom track, though. Like, I gotta be honest, that's my favorite interpretation of it. Do my dogs have things they love to destroy? Not really. We trained the puppies pretty good so they don't, like, destroy things. Like, they'll chew on, like, bones and shit, but that's, like, that's what they're supposed to do. I mean, Fergus, in the past, has taken, plushies off of my shelf, and I had to steal it from him. And be like, Fergus, don't do that. But they're very good. They're very good. I think we trained them well. Atari enters in an agreement to acquire Night Dive Studios. What did Night Dive do? Hold on, I just saw this gaming news. Oh, they did a bunch of ports and shit. Dude, they did the Doom 64 remaster? That's kind of cool. Well, I guess Atari owns them now? I don't know what the hell Atari's doing. Everybody else has been acquiring studios, so Atari was like, we can do that too, we promise. Good old Atari. The absolute losers of the game industry. I'll be honest though, I think it's because I grew up on stuff like AVGN, and he had like a fondness for the old Atari stuff. I never hated Atari. Like, would I go and play a bunch of Atari 2600 games? No. I would probably even say, like, literally none of them would be anywhere close to the best video games of all time, but hey. Like, when Atari announced they were doing the VCS, which ended up being kind of a piece of shit, I was rooting for them. I was like, yeah, it could be alright. And I remember my ex at the time was like, what are you talking about? It's fucking Atari. And I was just like, oh, but what if it's cool, though? It wasn't. But I mean, at least I had optimism and joy in my heart. Is Atari really the losers? They were pretty big in the early gaming days. Funny that you should say that, because, like, the Atari that exists now is not even, like, the same company, because the original Atari went ultra bankrupt, because they caused the video game crash. So, yeah, no, they're absolutely the big losers of the industry, for sure. They lost it all, and now the company is basically just a name. And I'm trying to think what, like, stuff, like, Atari even has. I think they have Roller Coaster Tycoon, but when's the last time that got, like, a new entry? They did Atari 50 recently, which was, like, a collection of a bunch of old Atari shit, including, like, stuff from, like, the Jaguar and shit, like, stuff that most people have not reasonably played, and it was, like, a really, like, a nice, like, historical piece, from what I heard. I've not played the collection for myself, but I'd like to at some point, because I've heard it's, like, really high quality. But, like, for the most part, Atari are the big losers. Nobody really puts much respect on Atari's name. Yeah, they've only done 3 original games, and then the rest are remasters and ports. They did the Turok remasters, which is cool. They did the Quake remaster. That's the stuff I, like, recognize. Like, if you asked me, like, hey, Morgan, do you know what Noctropolis is? I'd be like, no. Thank you for asking, though. Do I know much about the Game Crash Ultra bankruptcy? Okay, so the video game crash and Atari's bankruptcy actually happened, like, years apart. Basically, the video game crash of 1983 happens. This is because Atari does not have any quality control on their system, and also they don't really have, like, anybody's really capable of making Atari games. It was extremely easy to do. So you would get these fucking terrible games just put on this system. And people got sick of it because they were buying Atari games and they were buying a lot of crap. I mean, very big examples were Pac-Man was a very bad port on Atari, but it's Atari, there was only so much they were going to be able to do there. And E.T. is obviously one that's cited a lot. Based on E.T. the movie. It was a big bomb, it was a little too confusing, and people didn't really get into it. And they made, like, way too many copies of it, considering it was kind of a poopy game, and people weren't into the idea of buying it. So that, like, Pac-Man, a bunch of other games that they made a lot of, they put that shit in a desert, and for a bit, it's, like, retailers were very, very afraid of putting video games in stores, at least in the United States. It's important to note that console gaming was fine in, like, Japan. In fact, I think 83 is around the time the Famicom, which would become the NES, came out. So Japan was doing fine. But America is where the video game crash happened, and it was really the only country where the Atari was big. I think there are only sales numbers for the Atari in America because the other countries didn't give a shit. Nobody else was buying an Atari. It was an American phenomenon, mostly. But yeah, I actually could not tell you the exact point where Atari goes bankrupt. But it's probably after the Jaguar, I would say. Like, if I had to guess, it's after the Jaguar. Because Atari did try to make consoles after the 2600. They made the 5200, the 7200. They made the Atari Lynx, which was a portable. They made the Atari Jaguar. They made the Atari Jaguar CD. And none of these caught on because nobody gave a shit. And I'm pretty sure that, Atari went bankrupt after the Jaguar. Yeah, let me look up. When did Atari, like, stop being Atari? Wait, did Atari, like, not go bankrupt? Wait, did Atari just actually never go bankrupt and they just kept getting sold to more and more people? Well, again, it is like I said, the Atari that exists now is not at all like the Atari that existed then. But, like, skimming the Wikipedia article, maybe they never actually went bankrupt. They just kept getting sold off and changing hands. Also, I've played this course. I know it's, like, fucking confusing to navigate. I've gotten fucking confused navigating it. Now. Fuck. And now, for some reason, without drifting, I keep thinking I can take sharper turns than I actually can. Thank you, Uncle Leo, for guiding me. Unfortunately, I have to blow you up now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Atari has such a big history after the 2600, and that to this day, the 2600 is probably still the most successful thing Atari ever did. Like, again, nobody talks about any of their consoles that came out afterwards. Nobody gives a fuck about any of that shit. Ow. Man, he had invincibility for a while, huh? Why? Why, though? But yeah, if you ever wondered why Nintendo games for a long time had that, like, Nintendo seal of quality on it, like that sticker on the box art, that was because, like, Nintendo was much, much stricter with what games they let on their consoles for a while. Which worked out for them in the end, obviously. But that was a contentious thing during the Nintendo and Sega wars, because eventually Nintendo's own quality control also meant that they weren't really letting more violent games on there, and they were missing big with stuff like Mortal Kombat being super popular at the time, and them having the essentially inferior version. Look, guys, look. Wario Land 4 for the Virtual Boy Ultra Classic system. I could talk about random tidbits of video game history all day, every day. Again, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I like video games. And I mean, I think it is important to, like, have, like, you know, for someone like me who plays a lot of video games, it's important for me to know the history of this stuff. It lets me be more informed. Love to hear about what I know. Not too much of a gamer. Where would I even begin? I mean, there's a lot of random video game tidbits that I've learned over the years. One of my favorite video game facts will always be that the original PlayStation was going to be a collab between Nintendo and Sony. They were going to do that together. I don't remember exactly what happened behind the scenes, but I don't think either of them were particularly happy about the agreement. And so, a day after they announced the Nintendo PlayStation, it got canceled. And then Sony made their own console. So, like, whatever Nintendo did to piss off Sony, they accidentally made their greatest competitor. So listen, at the end of the day, Sony is still a corporation, but nobody in the world has stuck it to Nintendo more than them. Sony was spiteful. And you know what? The PS1, in both hardware and software, is just, like, superior to the N64 in basically every way. I think that Sony, knowing that the industry was going towards disc-based games, was the smart business move, while Nintendo was staying behind with cartridges. And listen, cartridges in the modern day are much better. I think that the Nintendo Switch loses very little by using cartridges, especially since it doesn't really get these big AAA games that are like fucking 100 gigabytes or whatever. But in like the 90s, it was like the worst thing you could do. Because like cartridges have very, very little storage space, or at least, you know, back in the day. And they're also much more expensive to produce. But Nintendo stuck with it because they were afraid of piracy. Because, you know, it's much easier to pirate something off a disc than it is a cartridge. Didn't stop people, but that was Nintendo's reasoning. That's also the reason they went with mini-disc for the GameCube, is again, Nintendo was so fucking scared of those pirates, which makes it all the more funny that Nintendo consoles are consistently the fastest to get, like, good piracy going for them. But the N64 cartridges had very little space. I think it would have been like 32 megabytes or something. Maybe more. Maybe up to 64 megabytes. Yeah, cartridges are basically SD cards now. But, like, you are not getting much off of 64 megabytes. Meanwhile, discs could be close to a full gigabyte. So Sony was riding high. They were able to have the biggest games. They were able to have, like full motion video on them. And I mean, like, Nintendo losing Square was huge. Because right after Nintendo lost Square, Final Fantasy became the biggest franchise, or one of the biggest franchises in the world, with Final Fantasy VII. Like, Final Fantasy VII was a wildly influential game at that time. And Nintendo missed out on that because they were doing stupid cartridge doo-doo shit. And the N64 took so fucking long to come out. Like, the PlayStation had a 2-year lead on the N64. So basically, by the time that the N64 came out, the PlayStation already had a big user base. Devs were already comfortable developing for it, because, you know, 2 years was a very reasonable amount of time to put out a game or two in the 90s. And, like, with making games for the N64, you had to deal with much less cartridge space, which was a big deal, because they were used to making bigger and bigger games. And really, the only benefit you would get is that, technically speaking, it was graphically superior. Like, very much a technicality. Because it's like, PlayStation games, because they had much more storage, could have much more, you know, they could have much more detailed textures, but Nintendo could technically have much more detailed models. But that's why, like, Mario's model in Mario 64 has a lot more, like, has more polygons than something like Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. But Cloud Strife has, like, he has, like, a face. And he could get real detailed. Maybe I'm off base saying this also. Talking about the technical aspects is maybe not my wheelhouse, but definitely, like, again, the cartridge space for the N64 was a big problem for developers. And, like, they could have gotten away with it if the N64 came out sooner. But the fact that it came out after, like, 2 years after the PlayStation just fucked them over hard. And then there was Sega. Good old Sega. They were trying. They really were. I mean, the Saturn was not doing great, at least in America. It did okay in Japan. The Saturn was doing okay in Japan, which is, like, Sega of Japan and Sega of America were at fucking war with each other, basically. Like, Sega was definitely, like, the most dysfunctional company in, like, of, like, the big console manufacturers. I don't think any of them were ever as dysfunctional as Sega was. Because Sega of America and Sega of Japan were constantly clashing. Sega of America, like, or maybe it was Sega of Japan. No, Sega of America did not want the 32X to exist. Because they knew the Saturn was coming out soon. And the 32X was like their 32-bit add-on. The Sega Saturn was a 32-bit console that would have been able to do what the 32X was able to, and more. Surprising that two different regions could be at war of a company. Yeah, no. Sega was not doing great. It's part of why, like, Sega made a lot of baffling decisions. Part of it was that Sega of Japan was very stubborn, and they only really, like, paid attention to the Japanese market. So a lot of the decisions that Sega made around that time made more sense when you took it as, like, these decisions benefit the Japan division. But a lot of those decisions were fucking over the American team. You know, again, Sega was doing better in Japan than they were in America. But you never want to divide a company like that. And I mean, they made plenty of stupid financial decisions. I mean, the 32X was dumb. Shenmue is like, listen, I know it's a classic video game. They wasted so much fucking money on Shenmue. I think Shenmue would have had to sell as good as something like Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII sold more than the Dreamcast ever did. Like, they were banking hard on Shenmue. And maybe in a way, Shenmue is the first truly AAA video game. Because that budget was huge, and they did not make that money back. I mean, it wouldn't be the only reason. There's a lot of other reasons that Sega went bankrupt around that time, but I'll always think about, like, man, They were banking hardcore on Shenmue, huh? I mean, the Dreamcast, they tried to make it work. They really did. And the Dreamcast had some banger first-party exclusives. But the failure of the Saturn just kind of resonated too hard at the time. Especially in North America, like, I've heard stories of, like, people calling in to retailers to ask for, like, Dreamcasts, and they, like, the retailers would just laugh. Don't understand how Shenmue is a classic. You've seen the game, and everyone you've seen play it gets frustrated to the point of rage quitting it. It's very much a historical thing. Like, Shenmue is, for 1999, the single most technically impressive game at that time. And that's really what it is. It's just it's a technical marvel of the era. If you play it in the modern day, you really don't get that context, because in the modern day, like, it's not even really that impressive for, like, once you get to, like, the PS2, like, games that were more impressive than that were coming out at, like, a mile a minute. Like, Shenmue was outdated within a couple years. But it had, like, a lot of, like, very specific details, like, it was based on, like, the real Japanese calendar of the time. And just a lot of stuff went into it to make it, like, a very realistic simulation of life. But nowadays, like, what was considered realism in a 1999 game is just considered, like, weird jank today. It is a very of-its-time game. And unlike, you know, Sonic Adventure and Final Fantasy VII, where I kind of have a weird fondness for them, Shenmue, I don't as much, because it's just, it's a little too strange. It's a little too of its time. And I mean, again, that shit cost Sega a lot to make. But yeah, you could very reasonably make the argument that Shenmue is, like, the first AAA video game, for better and for worse. But I mean, Sega really was putting their all into the Dreamcast. Shenmue, the Sonic Adventure games, Jet Set Radio, Space Channel 5, Choo Choo Rocket. Like, they were putting out, like, a big variety. You know, like, maybe to the more uninformed audience, it could seem like they were kind of throwing shit at a wall and seeing what stuck, but a lot of the shit did stick. A lot of those games are still beloved to this game. Phantasy Star Online. You had Sega Bass Fishing. If you're a big fishing fan, they had some decent sports titles on it. Like, they really were trying to fire on all cylinders with the Dreamcast, but it just wasn't meant to be. Again, with stuff like the Saturn and, like, the add-ons they were doing for the Genesis, what Sega felt like to a lot of consumers at the time was, like, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And they kind of didn't. But it seemed like, oh, we're gonna buy this system, and then in a couple of years, like, Sega's just gonna put something else out and make it outdated, and that console is never gonna really live up to its full potential. Because you know what, say whatever we want about, like, video game companies now, they really do get, like, the most out of their consoles these days. Like, the Wii U is kind of a rare exception where they killed it off pretty quickly, but, like, they're still making, like, PS4 and Xbox One games. Like, Sony and Microsoft are getting the most they can out of those systems. But Sega was not. They just shifted priority all the time. And thus, people didn't really want to fuck with them. And you know, they, like, if the Dreamcast kept going, it probably still would have been a failure just because the PS2 was, like, the biggest thing ever. But they could have tried. They could have tried, but they were out of money. I mean, what happened with Sega was at the end of the Dreamcast life, they were gonna go bankrupt, and then they got fucking saved by one of the former CEOs who wanted to, like, make sure Sega lived on. And, like, at that point, Sega obviously went third party, so now we have Sonic on everything. We got... And, you know, they still pull off some strange stuff every now and then. They have the Puyo Puyo series, Super Monkey Ball, Yakuza, Sonic, obviously. They own Atlas, which means they own Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Football Manager. They still, like, sell their old Dreamcast classics everywhere. Nights into Dream. They made a new one. They did produce Seaman, this is true. Seaman is an example of Sega just doing whatever the fuck. The Seaman console variant. I wish I could have been there to get the Seaman console variant. Honestly, I would like to own a Dreamcast at some point, because it's like, it's got a lot of cool games on it, and it's just like, there's nothing else like it, man. There really isn't. I mean, before Nintendo got really big into, like, very gimmicky hardware, Sega was doing it first. I mean, the fucking Dreamcast VMU, Visual Memory Unit, which was a memory card that you would plug into the controller, and it had, like, little visuals, and you could take it out and play stuff on it. Very simplistic stuff, but you could do stuff. You could put, like, your chows from Sonic Adventure on it, and, like, move those around. Also, yeah, Nights into Dream is not the only Nights game. They made Journey of Dreams for, like, the Wii. This is not a very recent game. This is, like, from 15 years ago, but it does exist. It is a game that came out when they became third party. Yeah, I'm sure if Devi was here, they could tell you more about Journey of Dreams. I don't know much about it other than it's fucking weird. And British. They sound very British in that game. If I'm remembering correctly, anyways. Oh, you know what else? You know what else? Thinking about Sega failures, a big part of the reason why the Sega Saturn failed, and I can't believe I forgot about this. In the era where 3D was becoming the norm for video games, Sega made a console that specialized in 2D games. So the Sega Saturn's strength was running 2D games, but people weren't as interested in those 2D games. So, like, while Nintendo and Sony were, like, revolutionizing video games in the 3D space, Sega was doing the same old thing they were doing. And granted, they got some good shit out of it. I know Sienna's a big Saturn fan, so they definitely made, like, good shit for the Saturn, but most of it was, like, good 2D shit. The 3D games they had were shit like Sonic R. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying the video game history lesson. I hope this is somewhat interesting. There might be someone watching who already knows some of this shit, but wish the Sonic series wasn't plagued by bad games. It depends on your perspective. Honestly, it's like, I don't know. I think Sonic's in a fine spot, and I think Sonic Frontiers is a good start. And, like, most of the 3D Sonic games that people don't like, I think are fine. I just hope that Sega sticks to the plan. I mean, we're getting some Sonic Frontiers updates. Wait, is that dropping tonight? Wait, when does that drop? Wait, they might actually, like, literally drop that tonight during my stream. Oh, fuck. So they're doing free updates for Sonic Frontiers because of the positive reception to the game and the strong sales. Well, this is good for me. I'll have to check. We might just pivot into that if it is out. Ooh. How was Frontiers? Frontiers is fantastic. Probably my game of the year from last year. Wait, am I gonna get it first? Let's go.
What? What the fuck? Medic from TF2?
What? Oh my god, I still won. Holy shit, let's fucking go. Sonic Frontiers update queued. Okay, this might make the stream chug, but I'm gonna start this update. Wait, we could literally play this tonight. So first we have a photo mode, I don't really care about that. Jukebox, play your favorite tracks while exploring the Starfall Islands. New challenge modes. After finishing the campaign, test your skills with new challenge modes. Cyberspace challenge mode. Battle Rush mode. This could be dope. This could be dope. Okay, yeah, this is gonna make the stream chug as it's updating, but it's fine. It's fine. Guys, it's okay. Well, this will be my last match of, Mario Kart Wii then. We'll pivot to Sonic Frontiers. What are these wiggling cars? Ow. I drifted right into that one. To be fair. And just as I'm getting used to this game's physics, I'm gonna go back and play Mario Kart 8 and be really confused for a few matches. This is affecting the bitrate more than I thought it would. To be fair. I think the stream's probably, like, completely dead on Twitch right now. It's fine, it's okay. It's like 75% done. It'll probably be done by the time I finish this race. Oh, come on, man. Give me a big shroom. Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay, I'm trying this. Okay, that didn't bring me any closer to first. Oh well. Sonic Frontiers downloaded the update. And that's what's important. Alright, the stream's in the green again. Hello, everyone. Yeah, that happened because I was downloading the Sonic Frontiers update. We're gonna fucking do that. Fuck yes. I didn't even realize that was dropping tonight. Until, like, I was like, wait. Hold up. Man, this is the 4th game I'm playing tonight. This is the ultimate variety hour. Truly. Alright. And you know, the stream title hasn't been accurate for three games now, but I'm not switching it. We're sticking with it. But let's open back up Sonic Frontiers. Think the stream jumped forward in time? Probably. Hello.